Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What is up, everyone? This is the show for all hunters and outdoorsmen together and alike. We like to call it the electronic campfire. I like to say thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Brett Bovin. For those unfamiliar with the show, we do a live show Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And each week we cover a new state. This week we're in New Jersey. Obviously, today, though, we're doing a live show on Wednesday because, like I said in the previous episodes, when we scheduled all three of these guests, we did the schedule change after the fact. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to leave that week and let them all have their own fun. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the comment section. The Deucer is going to be dropping them in and pop them up during the screen for the show. If you ever want to be a guest on the show, feel free to reach out to me on social media, or you can send me an email to brettbovin@whitetailadvantage.com. And I never tell anybody no that wants to come on the show. I'll figure something out. We'll get everybody that wants to come on. We'll get you on the show. We also have a saying on the show, put your quarter in the slot machine. What I simply mean by that is to help share the show. I strongly believe that hunting is a dying sport. It's a dying lifestyle. And we're trying to do the best to bring awareness back to hunting and bring that deer camp feeling, the true feeling of deer camp, back to reality. Especially here in Michigan, deer hunting numbers are declining on a fast rate. And with kids these days just wanting to sit on their phone on the couch watching TikTok all day, it's kind of sad. So parents, on you to get the kids outside. Anyways, little housekeeping notes here. If you use the code GP10, GP10, you can get this 10% discount off Gilly Puck products. Also, make sure to check out MAGNUS, BROADHEADS, and Grizz Media. All right. Producer, I don't think I missed anything. I swear I don't like doing intros because it's just stupid. I don't like listening to myself talk a whole lot. Anyways, finally, today is Wednesday, July 31st, and tonight we have Eddie on the show from New Jersey. So Deucer, and the Deucer of the show, it's his second time helping produce the show. He's a new teammate. We're looking forward to announcing who that's going to be here in a little bit in the coming weeks. Anyways, Deucer, let's bring in the guest for tonight. What is up, Eddie?
How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Doing good, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited.
Real quick, have you ever tried Tippy Cow?
No, what is that?
It's a new drink. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had rum shada?
I don't believe so.
It's a very smooth drink, and it's a drink based out of Wisconsin. And it's amazing. And they only have 4 flavors. There's vanilla, shamrock mint, chocolate, and orange. And honestly, those are my favorite in that order. If you haven't tried it, when I go to stores and I ask them, do you have Tippy Cow in stock? They said, no, we have to pre-order it. They're so backed up on orders. Some people, they told me they had to wait 3 months to 4 months just to get their order in. That's how fast these things are going off the shelves. They're not even in the shelves, honestly. So that is what I'm drinking tonight because it's delicious. So you got to get you some, man. Eddie, again, I just want to say thank you again, man, for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. For anyone that doesn't know you, can you give yourself a little background about who you are?
Yeah, I've been hunting for probably 25 years. I am currently a New Jersey resident, born and raised in New York. Former Division I athlete, played 5 years professional arena football. But as you get older, all that stuff ends, and hunting's my passion. Everything and all whitetail. I'm 48. I have an 8-month-old son I just put to bed. So, starting a little later in life with that. But, hopefully I get out this season to put some time in the tree stand.
Division I athlete. So I got to ask, where was that at?
Villanova University.
Oh, wow.
I was a running back there in the 90s. I played arena football from 2000 to 2005. Ended with the shoulder surgery. So I think I stopped playing at 29. And what happened to me then, just really quick, I had shoulder surgery. After I was done playing, I tried to shoot my bow again. I could not shoot my bow righty. I just couldn't do it. So I didn't know what to do. So I actually bought a lefty bow and started trying to shoot lefty. I'm right-eye dominant, so it was a little hard, but I've been shooting lefty for probably 18 years now. Took some trial and error. I missed a lot in the beginning, but now I shoot lefty. And today is actually the 1-year anniversary of a car accident I got into last July 31st, and which caused me to get shoulder surgery on my good shoulder March 1st. So this upcoming hunting season is going to be a challenge, but I've been putting in practice, so I'm looking forward to it.
Are you sticking with lefty, or are you going back to righty?
No, I have no choice but to shoot lefty. So, but listen, the best ability in any sport is availability. Being healthy and being able is so important. So, I'm currently still rehabbing, shooting my bow a lot, getting ready for the season, because I want to make sure I'm proficient in everything I do. So, but
I gotta ask though, arena football. I've seen that stuff growing up as a kid. I kind of stopped watching once I got to high school because I played football myself. I was a quarterback, and I got a preferred walk-on spot to play at Western Michigan University. However, they recruited hard at the quarterback position because their number one quarterback, he got drafted to, I can't remember what team in the NFL, but he didn't make it out, obviously. His name was Tom Hiller or something like that. I was like, I'm never going to see the playing field. And arena football, though, it was fun to watch, but it looked hard though and dangerous compared to actual NFL.
It was fun to watch. Well, that's about it. It wasn't fun to play. So listen, I'll take outdoor football any day. So in the late 90s, I was a fullback. Just based on my size and shape. Even though I was a wide receiver in high school, but when you get to the next level, just people are faster and better. And actually, my running back at Villanova was Brian Westbrook, who played for the Eagles for 9 years. So I had no choice but to be a fullback. But when you get to the Arena League, you actually play both ways. So in the early 2000s, the Arena League was we were on TBS, we were on TNN. So it was really popular in the early 2000s. But they make you play fullback and linebacker. So I had to play offense and defense and special teams. So you're on the field 8, 9, 10 minutes straight without a rest. It's like you said, it's fun. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. But obviously, all the contact you saw, it was a smaller arena, smaller field. There was a lot of physical contact, and unfortunately, I got hurt a shoulder, happens, and then that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I could see the injury aspect of it because you're running into the barriers right there, and I seen a bunch of people just flying over the side of it, and I can't pass this up here. I knew Brian Westbrook went to a school up in the Northeast. I thought it was UConn until you just said Villanova.
Oh.
Real quick, what was it like playing with a Hall of Famer?
Oh, it was absolutely. I tell people stories to this day about Brian. My senior year, we opened up at Pitt. I was a senior, he was a sophomore. So I was his fullback for 2 years. As a sophomore, he was a 180-pound kid at 5'9". Pitt made a bowl game the year before, and we lost 47-41, but he had 428 yards and 5 touchdowns. And you look at him and be like, it just do you. So, we knew he was a special kid in college. But I never imagined him going on to do what he did for the Eagles, and then his last season he played with the 49ers. But kid, great athlete. It was great. He made my life a lot easier because he made my life as a blocker a lot easier. So
I gotta ask another question: what was he like off the field? His personality, who he was.
So I'll tell you a quick story about Brian. He was just such a humble kid and didn't want people to know who he was, that we would go out to like a social gathering, and he'd meet a girl and he'd go, "Hi, my name is Steve," or "Hi, my name is Bob." And he would never say his name because he didn't want people to know who he was. Not me. I would have been like, yeah, I'm Brian Westbrook. I would have worn my jersey out. I was a different kind of person, but he was that humble of a kid. Even to this day, I still see him. I was actually at Villanova a couple months ago when he was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame, but he's still the same kid, that he was, very humble, intelligent, smart, great family guy. He has 3 kids now. So he lives actually in Brooklyn over here, but it was great just to play with that type of athlete in person.
Last question. Do you still stay in somewhat contact with him, or do you kind of drift apart?
Absolutely. He actually texted me a couple weeks ago. He texted me to go play golf, but I was like, I just said, Sergi, man, he loves golf. He's a golfer through and through. So I couldn't do it. But yeah, we talk all the time.
That's amazing. Yeah, the brotherhood with football. I mean, I swear that the brotherhood that I made with my friends in high school football, it's the bond that just will never be broken. And it looks like you are a case in point. That's true. The bond that you make on a football field is just never broken.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get players that are a little biased towards the defense or players that are on offense. They get closer to the offensive players, obviously. But like I said, the bond that you make with your brothers on the field is just something that will never be broken. And it's awesome to hear that you're still friends with them till this day.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, when you play college football and you go through, you're there all year, you're there all summer long. So you never leave. So these guys, literally, they become your brothers, and they're my closest friends to this day. Whether I've been at their weddings and their kids' baptisms, and the crazy thing, I graduated in '99. So what? We're going on 25 years since I graduated, and we still get together and we talk about things like it was yesterday, and that's what makes it special. Like, listen, I might not remember what my wife said 10 minutes ago to me before I came down. But I can remember what happened on 4th and 3 versus, Rutgers in 1995. You know what I mean? So it's crazy things to remember and we talk about, and that's what makes it just a great experience. That we'll never lose that. No one can ever take that from us.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let's dive into some hunting here.
Yes,
You're
sir.
a big hunter. I can tell. I can see the European mounts. And real quick, I love European mounts kind of more than shoulder mounts, like the full head, my shoulder mounts. I kind of like the European mounts more.
I actually got 2 that were recently dipped in that camouflage. So the one right there dipped in the camouflage. I like them. For some of my smaller deer, I did the Europeans, but they come out really nice. So especially with the price of everything nowadays, it's just the shoulder mounts are going up and up and up. So it might be Europeans for me for a little bit. It's either diapers or shoulder mounts. I might have to choose diapers there.
Right, man. I got a 1.5-year-old son, and diapers. I cannot wait because my daughter's going to turn 4 in November. My son turned 1 in April. I cannot wait till I can throw diapers away officially forever until my kids have their own kids. Diapers, man. I didn't think how expensive diapers were. And take away kids, I get they're expensive, but diapers alone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyways. All right. Let's see here. Where do you see yourself primarily hunting more? Do you see yourself hunting more on public land? Do you have a little access to private land? How do you dabble in your hunting time?
Well, I think one of the hardest things that people on the East Coast, I'm speaking for New Jersey or people who come up from New York, is finding access to hunt, period. Obviously, New Jersey is it's a highly populated state. So I've spent the last 10 years hunting either small pieces of private land or mostly state land. And unfortunately, the state land hunting, and anyone from New Jersey who hunts state land will tell you this, it is frustrating. Because I've had hunts where I've been in trees and people just come jogging across, dogs showing up, because there's just so much activity at state parks and places like that where they allow you to hunt, but people never stay home. They're always out. So, anyone from New Jersey who hunts state land will tell you it is a frustrating experience. To give you an example, I have a piece out here where I am in Clinton where the last 3 years I've been hunting 1 deer. And it was for Jersey. He is a giant, probably close to 170. I called him Big Boy. I would send him pictures to my friends in Wisconsin and Iowa, and they would say, that's a shooter anywhere. Every time I'd go hunt him, there'd be a small game hunter coming through with a dog, there'd be someone running through the state land. It was on state land. Then they would start bird hunting. On November 6th, they start bird hunting. At least give me to November 15th. Let me get like a couple of days where he could make a mistake. But right when he would make a mistake, they start bird hunting. And so there's so much state land in New Jersey. To me is probably the hardest hunting I've ever done. Very limited success on state land. So my hunting now is primarily small pieces of private. Last year I joined a hunting club that leases from the township. And the biggest piece is, I believe, 200 acres, but it's given me a little chance to broaden out and kind of maintain a spot and know that, I could groom it, I could put cameras out, I could actually bait and do things that I need to do to see deer without, people running through. So I'm really excited for this year because on those pieces of private land, I have some good deer already showing up.
Is this your first year hunting that piece of land?
No, I hunted it last year. And you mentioned something before. One of the things that happened to me last year is I have a lot of friends from the Midwest, and they're always showing me this deer. One of my good friends out in Iowa, last year he shot a 189, and they would show me pictures. And his dad, I think, shot a 172. And these guys are shooting booners in the same family in the same year. And it's like, so I'm constantly. I said to myself this past year, you know what? The deer I normally shoot like these, let me hold out. So last year, I would have a nice, maybe 125-inch deer or something along those lines come through. I'm like, you know what? I'm so used to seeing those big Midwest deer that I'm like, you know what? Let me pass. And I passed 3 or 4 deer that never would pass me by, usually in Jersey. And actually, last year in Jersey, I didn't shoot a deer. So I look back and say, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Hopefully those deers grow and they'll be bigger this year. But seeing all those Midwest deer and hearing guys say, let them live, let them grow. I passed some deer. I did shoot a nice deer. I actually shot that deer right there last year in Pennsylvania. So last couple of years I've had a good run in Pennsylvania. A little harder hunting because it's a lot more woods, a lot more hardwoods. But it's going well for me in PA.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember last year, my wife, it was kind of like towards close to Halloween. The entire month of October, she kept asking me like, what's it going like out there? Have you seen anything? And I come home and I tell her like, yeah, I saw this 8-pointer. I passed on him. And I just kept telling her, I passed on this one deer. I passed on this one deer. And like I said, we talked earlier in off air of, like I said, getting out in the woods. I love that. I want to shoot the biggest deer possible. That's just where I'm at in my hunting part of my life. But none of the deer just got my heart beating out of my chest. And I just thought to myself, you know what? If that deer had like another year or two, they would turn out to be something amazing. And she got pissed on me November 1st because I kept telling her I kept passing deer. At one point she said, Brett, I swear, you come home and tell me that you passed on a deer, I'm going to fucking kill you. Because I want deer meat in the freezer and I'm tired of it. So I think it was November 7th, I shot a deer. It was one that was amazing. I never had a photo of him. He was new. I was like, I don't know what it was about him, but he maybe scored, if you want to look at score-wise, 80. So nothing spectacular. But something about him just got my heart beating on my chest. And I was like, boom, that's the one I want. And so I made her life happy. And like I said, we talked off air of hunting now. It's changed in the last couple of years where people are out there now. I feel like it's social media driven and people are trying to shoot the biggest buck possible because they want to feel like, all right, if I shoot this 140 plus deer, I can post it on social media and show everyone that I'm a true hunter. No, that's the farthest fucking thing from hunting. I get there's people out there that want to shoot the biggest deer. I get that completely because I do. But get in a tree stand, enjoy being hunting out in the woods. And no matter what it is, no matter score wise, you see a doe or a spike buck and your heart is beating out of your chest that you can't control your heart at all. And you put your tag on that deer, man, I'm going to give you high fives and let's sit around the campfire and let's drink a beer or two and let's talk about from start when you woke up in the morning till now.
Absolutely.
And I think people are missing that these days.
Yeah. There is that's one thing that, I talk to a lot of young kids. I actually have a group chat right now with 20 campers from my bow camp that I teach. I'd recommend never have a group chat with 20 15-year-olds.
I was about to say your phones, I'm sure it's blowing up.
God, my phone blows up. But a lot of these kids have never shot a deer with a bow. A lot of them are from the Midwest, and I tell them, listen, any buck or deer shot with a bow is a trophy. Don't let anyone listen. It's your journey. It's no one else's journey. Your journey is different than someone else. I guarantee that guy shooting that 160 or 170 that you see on the Outdoor Channel didn't start shooting that deer. He has a spike on the wall or a 4-point or a 6 or something on the wall. Be excited about every deer you get and build off that. Just real quick, just for me with my injury in my shoulder, and I started shooting lefty. I made a goal. This is year 18. 17 years ago, I told myself, I'm going to shoot a Pope and Young deer, which is only a 125-inch deer, with a bow lefty. And I still have not done it. I've shot deer with crossbow. I've shot deer with rifle. Not big enough with my bow. So this year is year 18th of my goal, and it's been a long road with rehab and stretching and strengthening and the pain I go through for rehab to get it done. So hopefully this year 18 will be my success. I'll be able to get that done. But getting back to the kids, I think there's too much antler shaming on social media. Too many people saying, "Oh, it's a 4-year-old, let him go." Listen, that 130 that you want to let go could be someone's dream deer, because demographically where you live, 130-inch deer, 140-inch deer in New Jersey is a monster, is a giant, whereas a deer like that in the Midwest, in an Iowa or a Michigan or a Wisconsin, could be like an average deer. And listen, if you want to pass it. But if you don't, I said let the arrow fly.
Right. And I had a question here. I'm going to answer it. I will ask it after this comment here. There's a comment here made by Flavors Forest. It says, "Hello, all from Oregon." You know what? I'm an Oregon Ducks fan. I'm here in Michigan. My favorite football team is the Oregon Ducks. So, hello from Oregon. Go Ducks. I hope you're not a Beavers fan. I'm kidding. I forgot to ask, talking about your shoulder surgery. My best friend, he's a part of the team here. He's one of the co-hosts of the show. He had some shoulder surgery on his right shoulder, and he still shoots right-handed. What was it like mentally switching over to left? Obviously, you grew up you're right-handed, all this and that. Flavors Forest, hell yeah, there we go. Yeah, go Ducks, baby. What was it like mentally getting over that hurdle, I guess, to shoot left-handed?
I think the hardest thing for me is just understanding my physical limitations. So just being on camera, I'll show you that my left shoulder, that is my external rotation. If you can see, that's it. That is all I shoulder up. Okay. They over tightened my shoulder capsule when they did the surgery. So the way I shoot, and I tell kids at the camp that I teach, archery to, I was like, I might shoot well, but don't copy my form. But in the same sense, whatever you do, archery-wise, form-wise, if you can repeat it every single time the same way, you can have maybe not the most technical proper form, but still be an accurate shooter if you can repeat it the same every single time. And I'm able to do that, even though from a form standpoint. So when I shoot, I actually have to put my thumb as my anchor point behind my head to support, because my shoulder would not be able to support my poundage, and then I'm able to shoot like that. So it's just something where as long as I can repeat the anchor points over and over, but being an athlete, that's one of the things that definitely helped me, because I understand the benefits of repetition. And I would just rep it out and rep it out and rep it out. And being an absolute lover of archery, I would even drive my car, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I would drive my car with a patch over my right eye so I could just get used to focusing on my left eye, because I was right eye dominant. It's probably not the safest thing to do, but that's something that I did, because that was the hardest part of the process. Because I remember one of my first misses that I had was probably one of the biggest deer of my life. I got excited and I kept my right eye open, and my arrow went, 10 feet the other direction. I said, oh, my left eye. And when you're a certain eye dominant, it's opening the other eye. Sometimes it takes practice and repetition. So it was something where, a lot of people told me that I couldn't do it. I was like, that's just silly to say someone can't do anything. And that just gave me more motivation to practice and practice and practice. And now I can't imagine shooting anywhere else other than lefty. So
right. PSC Mobile Hunter here said, "Go blue." You know what? Fuck the Michigan Wolverines. I'm just gonna say that right now.
I'm an avid watcher of college football. I will give Oregon one thing: they have the best uniforms in all of college football. So I'll give them their uniform changes are simply the best. But I do like Michigan too. So.
I can't stand them. It's an overrated team that should have never won the national title last year, because Florida State got gypped. And then everyone that knows me knows I can't stand Florida State. At Florida State, but I like Florida State more than Michigan if you had to put two between the two. And no, PSE Mobile 100, you're never coming on the show. You're a Michigan fan. I said it from day one. Any Michigan fans never coming on the show.
See, but I think it also depends how old he is, because I remember growing up in the 90s, man, I used to love Tyrone Wheatley of Michigan and Desmond Howard and was like Elvis Gerbach and like those guys. I just remember when I was a young kid watching those guys from Michigan play. I was also a big Notre Dame fan too. And just when you're growing up,
Charles Woodson too.
It's just when you're growing up, I really wasn't picking teams. I was just picking players that I liked. I remember in the 90s, you really didn't hear much about Oregon. But in the 90s, it was the Michigans, it was the Notre Dame, it was the Florida States, the Miamis, schools like that. And I would just love to pick different players from those teams. So,
PSA Mo Hunter, I'm 55. Watched back in the Bo days. Bo, what's his name? He was actually my coach. Bo
Jackson.
He was the quarterback for Michigan. BSC, I'm sure you know him more than I do because I can't stand Michigan, but it's Bo something, not Bo Schembechler. He was a quarterback back in like the 80s and 90s, and I think he took him to the Rose Bowl, and he was actually my football coach in middle school at Paw Paw, and he played at Michigan University, and and everyone can't deny Oregon's uniforms, and I think nowadays, but tangent here. I think with your natural ability as being an athlete, though, kind of for me, I'm athlete driven, sports driven, competitive. It's just who I am. I don't like to lose. I hate to lose more than I like to win. And with it sounding like with your shoulder surgery, you weren't going to let that deter you from hunting, and you figured out any way not to lose to make sure you got back out in the woods, and you found any way possible. And it sounds, people might not like whatever. I think that's a great idea, covering your eye to get your eye used to making that more of your dominant eye now. And I think that's actually a genius idea.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest parts of the process, is just, because I still shoot a rifle, and you're so used to being right eye dominant, and then obviously with buck fever in the heat of the moment, you want to practice to the point where your body just reacts, and if you're not used to something, it's going to react to where you're comfortable. And to me, I was just comfortable keeping my right eye open, but shoot lefty, I had to consciously tell myself, close your right eye, keep your left eye open, and focus. And that was probably the hardest thing. But everything I do now is archery driven. Even when I go to rehab, I tell them what I need to do, how I need to pull. when I go to the optometrist to get my contacts, I bring my sight with me. And this might sound funny. And I tell, listen, doc, I want you to make my contacts. I need to see this little pin right here, this 0.10 pin. And I need to be able to see the object behind it clearly. And I tell my eye doctor that I want him to make my contacts a certain way so I can focus on the object behind rather than, so everything I do now is archery driven. But you know, it's been a long road, and I'm still in search of that, you know, like that goal as an athlete. Obviously, when you set a goal, it's just, you know, if you are a true athlete, you will do anything to get to reach that goal. And to me, it's been 17 years already, and I haven't had success. And listen, I know I'll get there eventually. It's just a matter of time. It's not if I will. It's just a matter of time and when. And I know that. And the whole point of delayed gratification is knowing that you'll get there. You just got to put in the work. So if I keep on putting in the work, I know eventually I'll get that opportunity. And it's up to me to make sure I practice and I'm proficient. So when the opportunity happens, that I'm prepared. And one of the things I tell my young kids when it comes to hunting, it's success is when preparation meets opportunity. And you don't know when the opportunity comes, but if you're not prepared, you won't succeed. And just to kind of give a little the dovetail off that, I actually, those 20 kids that I have on a group chat, I do what's called a 1,000-shot challenge for them. So I have 20 kids from the Iowa camp doing a 1,000-shot challenge. What we do, I challenge them from July 1st to October 1st to shoot 1,000 shots. And we have different check-in days where they have to send me their numbers. And the reason I do that is because I always tell them preparation is the key to this sport. And I want to make sure that they're the most proficient, ethical hunters when they sit in the tree stand and that deer comes out. So, you know, but that all definitely comes from an athletic background. Being, you know, the more prepared you are, the more confidence you have.
Well, I think, look, man, looks like there's another comment here. A Flavor Forest. Well, come with Johnny when he comes to visit. I'll show you some cool woods. I live in the mountains. No cell service here. Honestly, I almost grew up in Washington. My dad was a cop for 30 plus years. I was a cop for 7 years. He actually almost took a job out in Spokane, Washington. And I swear, if I grew up a Husky fan, I don't know what I'd do with my life anyways right now. But you nailed it perfectly where preparation. And I think a lot of people, especially when they see like TikTok videos, shorts, and reels, they don't see the hard work that people put into it and the preparation and all the blood, sweat, and tears that put into all the work to get a deer. And I think people miss that these days where they see these 10-second videos. And I swear, everyone that knows me knows I can't stand TikTok and I hate all that crap. They see the instant gratification of, oh, they shot a 200 plus deer. I want to go out hunting. And then they don't see a deer for 2 years, whatever. And they get disheartened and they just give up hunting. Preparation. I mean, heck, I remember listening to a story about this ex-Navy SEAL. They were talking about what would you do leading up to a mission. They said, we plan for months on end. So where they did not miss a beat. And you got to take the same mentality when it comes to hunting. You have to plan. You have to be in the best prepared position possible. And you have to be mentally prepared as well. And when I say mentally prepared, you have to be mentally prepared where go into it thinking that you're going to fail and hope for success. And I think a lot of these kids now that aren't getting into the woods, and I say this all the time with my kids, these kids nowadays, they're soft. They're just soft. My kids, I'm not going to raise them to be like that. If I tell my kids, if you just give 50%, you're going to run over all these kids and you're going to run the fucking country if you want. I'm going on a tangent here, but everyone gets what I'm trying to say is just be prepared, put in 110% work and hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Well, it's almost like the law of 100. The law of 100 says that if you, out of the 365 days of the year, if you practice a skill 18 minutes a day for 100 days out of the year, at the end of that year, you'll be 95% better at that skill than the rest of the world. You know, and you know, the kids that I work with, I tell them, listen, it's going to be the summer. You have summer vacations, you have your friends, and you have sports, you have all things. But if hunting is important to you, you have to make time to shoot your bow. You don't want to be that guy who a week before the season goes out there and you're not confident, because confidence in every situation that comes out is going to help you control your nerves, breathe a little better, manage that buck fever when you see it. So, and I always tell them, listen, preparation breeds confidence, and confidence helps you when you're in the tree stand. Because, whether it's, one of the situations was 2 years ago, I sat in a ground blind and actually missed the deer at 33 yards. And I told them, well, one of the mistakes I made, I didn't practice enough sitting down, which when that deer came out, I wasn't comfortable with my anchor point. I wasn't comfortable with my body position, and I shot right over his back. So this year, I said, if I'm going to hunt that spot, then I'm going to make sure I shoot enough arrows sitting in a seat, in that exact seat. So if that ever happens to me again, I will be 100% prepared to make that shot and be successful.
Flavors Forest here made a comment. Yeah, splitting wood so you stay warm all winter is hard. Hunting and processing is hard also. Yeah. No, and with my prior background in law enforcement was you have to think of all the worst case scenarios. So I've said it before where I'm sitting in my tree stand, and I'm not just sitting in the tree stand and enjoying the woods. I'm sitting in there and I'm thinking of a million different scenarios of what if a deer comes here? What if a deer comes from this area? What happens if this? Thinking of just the most randomest crap possible and just trying to think, all right, what if this happened? What am I going to do? And then even in the off season, I'm thinking of those type of scenarios and practicing accordingly with my body position. I'm either shooting, sitting down, or I'm standing. And I'm just thinking of all those different scenarios. And I think the more people that are getting into archery hunting, it's not just going out in a tree stand, sitting in a tree, shooting a deer. There's a lot more variables to it that I think people forget to mention. And like you said perfectly, prepare for those weird situations and plan accordingly.
Yep.
And you had a situation where you weren't comfortable with a shot, you never practiced it, and you're like, nope, I'm never going to do that again. So I'm going to practice all these different shots. I mean, last 2 years ago for myself, I shot at a deer where I had to I was standing up in my tree. My riser on my top limb kept hitting my bow hanger. Never practiced it, but I practiced in off different positions. I had to bend over like recurve style and shoot my compound bow. And luckily I was successful with it, but I practiced in different situations. I mentally prepared myself.
Yeah. Just to dovetail what you said, two things that I think the average person has a misconception with hunting, that you literally just go out there and sit in the tree and shoot a deer. They haven't, like you said, they have no idea the preparation and time it takes, whether it's planning a food plot, cameras, stands, checking stands. There's so much work. It's literally 12 months out of the year where you literally do things. And the second one is that they always say, oh, you can go out there and get a free meat. It's the amount of money I spend on hunting, I could go to the grocery store and buy the whole place up. So it's not technically free meat. You do spend a lot of money on bows and arrows and equipment and clothes and things like that. So those two things that people get mixed up.
And I'll make this last comment here because I want to start diving into more what it's like to hunt in New Jersey. Talking off air with you, it sounds like you're very knowledgeable about it. I think we said it before. People that think all you're doing is going in a tree and shooting a deer, you can take that mentality towards gun hunting, because I think, in my opinion, that is gun hunting. You can go in a tree, shoot a deer at 500 yards away, and you can do the same thing with a crossbow these days and pick a deer off that far away. I get that. But if you look at an archery hunter, it's so fucking hard, man. You got to get a deer, at least a minimum with, it sounds like the majority of the hunters I've talked to, 45 is their max comfort zone. For me, it's 65 with wind conditions in my favor. But 45, I feel comfortable at that distance. You got to get a deer, and these things are designed and created to live and evade predators. To be able to put your tag on a doe or a deer with an arrow, it's fucking hard, man. I think people don't look at that.
Yeah.
Or don't acknowledge it.
And one of the things I tell, the young kids I work with, one of the best ways to practice for big bucks is shoot a doe. Shoot a doe. If you're allowed to get a doe tag, get a doe tag. Shoot that doe first. If a doe comes out, practice, because you have to practice angles. You have to practice that deer jumping the string. You got to practice a lot of things. So I'd say, listen, shoot as many does as you're allowed, and you could use the meat. But to me, that shooting does is a great way to practice for those situations. And luckily in Jersey, we have unlimited does, so I can shoot as many as I like. So I do fill the freezer quite a bit during the hunting season, which is good.
With that being said, let's dive into what it's like to hunt in New Jersey. I talked to Mike from Boone, the Garden State podcast. He broke down the hunting seasons, and I kind of get what he's talking about, but can you lay it out in a different way, possibly, from what your hunting season's like in New Jersey? Because it sounds, if you're not from New Jersey, it can be fucking complicated to know.
Yeah. So the first season's fall bow. That's usually from September 10th to October, I think it's 26th. In that time, you're allowed to shoot one buck, but it's earn a buck. You have to shoot a doe first. So you have to shoot a doe, tag it in, then you're allowed to shoot a buck. Obviously, it's the honor system. You do it online, so I'm sure a lot of guys out there might not shoot their doe. But the good thing about Jersey is that the first deer I shoot every year, they have a program, Hunters Feeding the Hungry. If you don't want your deer, you could donate it for free. So you bring it to the butcher, say, I like doing it my deer, and they process it and giving it to the orphanages and the homeless shelters throughout New Jersey, which is a great program. So you go out there, you shoot a doe, help control the population. You go out there, you can shoot your buck. At the end of October, it's permit buck. Now you have to get a new permit to shoot a doe, and that runs October 26th to December 31st. But they do that by region. So New Jersey's broken up into different zones, and you have to buy a permit per zone. You could buy multiple zones if you'd like. So archery-wise, you could shoot a buck in September, and then another buck from November to December 31st in your zone. Even if you buy multiple zones, it's only one buck. Then in December, then we have 6-day firearm, which is in Jersey, it's muzzle loader, because you're not allowed to shoot a rifle, even though it's firearm season. You could harvest a buck during 6-day firearm. Last year, they actually had a bear season, which they haven't had for a couple of years. New Jersey has a black bear population, so they had a 6-day bear hunt last year from, I think it was October 9th to the 15th. And they wanted black bears taken so bad to control the population because I think several women died this year by bear attacks.
Wait, can you say that one more time? I couldn't hear you.
So there were several women that were actually killed this year by bear attacks, black bear attacks in New Jersey. So they wanted the population controlled so much that the bear tag this past year was $2. So
it was $2 for a bear tag?
$2 for a bear tag per zone. So I actually last year I shot my first black bear. I didn't, I sat in the tree, came out 30 yards. I was deer hunting. I was shocked, and I shot her. It was like a 330-pound female, and I shot my first bear last year with a bow, which is great. But yeah, New Jersey definitely has a black bear population. So I'm not sure if they're gonna do it this year again. We live in a democratic state, so there was a lot of protesting and a lot of, even at the check stations, the opening day of bear season at the check station, there was dozens of people with signs protesting the bear hunt in New Jersey. But if the population's out of control, someone has to do it. So hopefully this year we have. I'm not sure if they hit their numbers, but hopefully this year we have another bear hunt. So, because I've been eating a lot of bear meat. I love bear meat. So that's been a big part of what I've been eating the last 6 months.
Is it better than deer meat?
It's definitely different. The ground meat's different. The steaks, I still don't know how to cook real well, but the ground meat's real good. It's just more fatty. It has a little richer taste because it's more fatty. Obviously venison is so lean. It's a meat of its own. You have to prepare it really well. But I've been eating bear meat. The ground meat. I love it. It was definitely a different experience shooting a bear and getting it out the woods. I had no idea what to expect. Took me about 2 hours to get out the woods. Had to call a friend to come help me because the thing was just, there's nowhere to grab. I didn't realize you can't just pick it up and put it on a deer cart. It just wasn't happening. So, but I'm happy I got a chance to do that. But after that season, then you have a muzzleloader season, a separate muzzleloader season. You have a separate shotgun season after that, where you can shoot a buck in each one. Then come January 1st, you have a winter bow, where you go out there with a bow again. You can harvest another buck. In winter bow, that's from January 1st to I think February 18th. And if you haven't filled your tag with shotgun or muzzleloader in December, that carries over until the following year, and you could hunt muzzleloader or shotgun from January to February 18th. So a lot of hunting in Jersey. So literally from September 7th to February 18th. There was one year I actually hunted on Valentine's Day. Didn't go over real well with the missus, but I was able to. I was like, this is what I want as my present. I want to be able to hunt the morning on Valentine's Day. So I actually shot a buck that day, which is kind of great. So it's my present, but I don't recommend anyone ever doing that. So
I've told my wife since day one, I don't like celebrating Valentine's Day because I think it's an Hallmark stupid holiday and over whatever. But anyways, my personal feelings about it. PSE Mobile Hunter here made a comment saying bear chili is fantastic. I gotta try that
Absolutely.
Now. Yep. I talked about this with Andrew, and he brought up about bears in New Jersey. I said, if you ask me before this show, what are the thoughts of New Jersey what are the first thoughts that come to your mind when you think of New Jersey? Democratic, liberal state, just like Michigan. Whitetail deer, I'm sure they got deer out there to hunt. Black bear, I wouldn't think the first thing of it. That would have been my last thought, possibly in New Jersey. And to hear there's been women attacked by black bear, that's insane. And to hear another fact of that, it's $2 for a tag. That's how bad they want to get it gone. Real quick question was, you said was last year the first season for bear tag?
They've done it, but they've done it before, but they've taken breaks. Now, last year, originally when they first said they were thinking about it, then they canceled it because there was too much protest. Then they reinstated it last minute because I believe a woman died in a golf course. A lot of the women or people who have been attacked by bears have been protecting their dogs, which is kind of crazy. Walking their dog and their little chihuahua sees a bear and runs at it, tries to attack it. And the people are protecting their dogs. I'm not saying don't protect your dogs, but bear dog, I'm making the decision. But yeah, they did it last year, and it was $2 a tag, and I did it, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do it this year. There was a lot of protest. There was a lot of people at the check station with signs protesting. I've even seen people in Jersey with bumper stickers on the back of their cars saying no bear season, which that's taking things to a whole level for me.
And that, first off, Chihuahuas, I call those small little ankle biters cats, in my opinion. I just call them cats, is how I am.
It's always a small dog that wants to fight a big bear.
Exactly. They think they're...
Yeah, it's never a Rottweiler that sees the bear and wants to attack. It's always a Pomeranian or something ridiculous that tries to attack the bear, and the homeowner has to go grab the dog and gets mauled. It's like, listen, everyone loves their dogs, but...
Right. And it sounds like New Jersey is like Michigan, where they just buckled to the left and, we don't want to piss these people off because, we won't piss off the hunters. Well, we're going to piss off the hunters, but they're not going to make a big scene or ordeal about it. They're just going to be, fuck me, I guess. Pissed off the left, they're going to make this horror ordeal out of it all and to cave to them. But they also got to realize the left, liberal mentality of we have hunting seasons for a reason. It's for the ecosystem and population control. It's more than just going out there shooting a deer and animals. We want to do it to control population. We do it for the love of the sport, the lifestyle. We want meat in the freezer. And like I said, I think it's annoying to see other states just buckle because they don't want to get the crap from one side. They're tired of protests and this and that. And I swear I get tired of it. And I'm going to say this real. There's a comment here by Flavor Forest saying, Oregon seems liberal to the world. Everyone that does not live in a big city has a Trump flag flying, a pickup, and guns. Now that's a shocker. I'm not going to lie. When I think of Oregon, I think of another liberal Democratic state. Obviously, it seems like they're always blue. I just figured all Oregon everyone out there was a liberal mentality of it. I'm sure there's Republican thinking out there because there's hunters out there, but to go on a tangent, I just figured that's everyone out there in Oregon.
But any protester, whether it's deer or bear, they don't realize that they're participating in the cause. You know, everyone talks about, getting after the root cause. They're hypocritical in the sense where that mall that they go to shop, if that mall wasn't there, there'd be trees there for the animals to live in. But trees were chopped down, a shopping mall was built, pushing them animals somewhere else. Now the remaining woods that's left is overpopulated because of your mall, yet you still go to that mall. So you're participating in this whole vicious cycle. So what we're trying to do, I tell them, listen, we're trying to control the population that you caused by going to that mall. You caused, instead of 10 deer per square mile, now there's 60 in a square mile because there's no woods left because of that shopping mall that you go to every week. So they're part of the process that is now 60 deer per square mile is a not healthy or good environment for those deer. So you have to control the population. That kind of what happens. Or in November, when you drive down one of the highways down here, every 100 feet there's a deer dead on the side of the road. So obviously something has to be done. They just don't want to. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to think of it. That cow, that steak that they eat, that cow committed suicide. Someone didn't kill that cow to them. You know, so they don't realize that they're part of the process. And you know, I tell people, listen, all those things that I'll do it myself. You know, I'll do it myself. The food, you go buy the cow, I'll go out there and get a deer that's on a field eating soybean and corn. I'll take it right to the butcher. You can't get any more organic than that. That's how I'll eat. You know, so and I help farmers out. I have farmers that I hunt that say, Eddie, shoot as many deer as you can off my farm because that's how I feed my family. That's my livelihood. So I tell people I'm like the Puerto Rican Robin Hood. I tell them all the time. I'm like I'm like the Puerto Rican Robin Hood. I go out there and I help the farmers out, and I save their families, and I feed the poor with the meat that I shoot and feed my family. It's all good.
That's a good one. I never heard that one before. Puerto Rican Robin.
My friends all the time. I like obviously I have friends of all races playing football. I have white friends, black friends, Chinese friends. I tell them, listen, I'm like the Puerto Rican Robin Hood, and they just like, or I tell them I'm a Puerto Rican redneck, and they're like, what? You hunt? Like they're like, I've never heard such a thing in my life. I'm like, listen, that's how I grew up. I grew up hunting and fishing. My dad was retired NYPD cop. Both my older brothers are law enforcement. That's how I grew up. That's how I grew up. So
well, thank you to your father and your family for the service that they're doing. So thank you from my heart to, I'm sure all our listeners out there as well.
Appreciate that.
Flavors Forest. I am wearing a tie-dye, I'm assuming shirt right now, but it's red, white, and blue. There we go. All right. There we go. Yeah. I know we're going on in this rabbit hole, but I'm not afraid to go in it. The people that are protesting hunting and hunting in general, they just want to see like the whole wolf scenario here in Michigan, and like I'm sure in all the other states that have wolf hunting. I get it. The wolf is a majestic creature. The wolf is my favorite animal. Don't get me wrong. To hunt it, I don't know if I could because, like I said, I just love wolves. I don't know what it is about them. I loved them since I was a baby. But at the same time, I need to hunt them for population control, for the ecosystem, and all this other stuff. And people get when they want to see, they want to get, they want to be an activist on social media, but they don't do anything out in the real world of trying to make a change in the life. And it's fucking annoying in my opinion. And to hear people, I actually talked about this with a Mike on Monday. He talked with somebody that didn't believe in hunting, and they brought to him of how he was a black hunter or something like that. And he actually had a genuine conversation with this person of why he likes to hunt and why they don't like hunting. I said, if someone wants to have a conversation with me, they don't like hunting, they're against hunting, but they're willing to have a civil conversation with me, and I'll listen to their side and I'm going to listen to my side. I'm going to tell them I'm right because I am right. But I'm willing to have that conversation with them. It's the people that are just going to be like, I'm yelling in your face. You're going to take what I have to say and you have to accept my way, my lifestyle, no matter what. Fuck them. They don't deserve my attention. I'm not going to talk to them because it's yelling at a wall. Nothing's going to change.
Yeah. Yeah. I did the same thing a couple of years ago. I shot a coyote and a couple of my friends were like, oh my God, it looks just like a dog. I was like, yeah, but then I showed them pictures on my scout cam of the coyote with a rabbit in its mouth or a fawn in its mouth. I was like, look what that coyote's doing. Look what that coyote's doing. There's too many of them. Then you know, your Bambi and your Thumper is getting eaten by that coyote. Okay, kill the coyote. So, okay, so does it matter the cuter the animal, the more we got to protect it? Is that how it works for them? If the animal's cute, so but those same people that are saying that they don't like hunting. Do you eat cow? Do you eat chicken? Do you eat lamb? Do you eat all these other animals? You just don't want to
see it
being done. That's all it is. You don't want to hear about it being done. Yet you participate in the process. You're causing if you're 100% vegan and don't eat any meat or any eggs, then you might have a say. But then if you see what they do to a field to plant soybeans, when they burn everything, they kill moles and every kind of rabbits and every kind of habitats to plant soybean for tofu and things like that. So you're still damaging some part of the ecosystem, but they don't want to hear about that.
That's like that photo I saw, I want to say it was about 5 years ago, where there was a photo of a zoomed in part on this picture, and it was a cop arresting a black person. But yet, and you see a bunch of protesters around it saying, why are you doing that? Why are you harassing this guy? But yet, if you panned out to the next photo, it showed that he actually stabbed all these civilians and stuff like that. And it's like, they want to see this little part of it, and they don't want to see the bigger picture of everything. And that's the same people that are with hunting. Ooh, I have deer, I have cow, I can buy steak at Walmart. Great. I don't want to know anything else that happened out there. I have meat here, so I'm going to buy it. You're all hunting and you're all doing this. You're all wrong. Same mentality.
I get it.
And
this and that's a battle as a hunter. We always, I have in-laws that are vegetarians, and we have conversations, and they're not big fans of what I do. I was like, listen, I go out with a bow and arrow. Listen, I shoot deer once in a while with a rifle, but I've never shot a buck with a gun. I use a muzzleloader. I told them, listen, I use a musket. I tell them to go hunting, or bow and arrow, and that's what I do. And I eat it. It's not like I wasted. I eat it. You can't stop me from being healthy, because then I'll show them a video of how they process cows and what they're sticking the cows and the artificial feed and the steroids and the hormones, and like, you're eating that. Who's right here? You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me how to be healthy and how to live my life. And I'm also, and I also, donate meat, and I have a list of people that I give meat to. So if I could help control the population, that deer that I shoot, who knows, if I don't shoot it, could run across the street and get in a car accident, kill a family of 4. Who knows? You know what I mean? So, that's how I look at it. And I'm not wasting it. I'm doing good things with it. So, hence, Puerto Rican Robin Hood, that's who I am.
I'm going to put your name in my phone as Puerto Rican Robin Hood. I'll say this, and we'll get out of this long rabbit hole.
Yeah.
When I was in the police academy, my drill sergeant, he showed us a picture of. He's like, look at what you're digesting, because in the saying in our police academy was, if you're becoming a cop, you lose the right to be out of shape. You had to be in shape. Look at what you're eating. We had to take a food log of everything that we ate for the 4 months that we were there. He showed us a picture of a cow. It was like this much meat and like this much fat. All this fat is slowing you down, making you feel like crap. A slow moving animal. You eat a fast moving animal, and he took a picture of like a rabbit meat, and it was all meat compared to like a sliver of fat. That's what you want to be digesting yourself. That's what the healthy version is. And I don't get me wrong, I believe in eating in vegetables and stuff like that. I think it's healthy for you, and it's great for your joints. It's great for your overall health. And I actually eat some vegetables here and there as myself. But you can't deny that as humans, we have sharp teeth for a fucking reason to cut through meat. And we need that lean, strong, fast moving animals compared to the cows.
Yeah. Yeah, we can have that's my specialty. We can have a whole conversation about nutrition, the food industry, and what they do and how they're killing us. But just a side note, my dad several years ago had a heart condition, had to get a stent put in, and he's had a heart condition for a while. And his cardiologist told him, stop eating beef. The two healthiest meats any cardiologist will tell you to eat are venison and bison. I don't know about you, but there's no buffalo running around by me. So my next option is some venison. So it's lean, not fat, great for your heart. The first thing I did when I heard that, went out there, shot a doe, brought it to the butcher, brought my dad a box of meat, and said, eat it. So my dad's still with us, so I'm pretty happy about that.
You're a great son for that. Thank you. All right. That was a long, but an amazing rabbit hole. I think that's the best rabbit hole I've ever had on the show so far. So thank you for being a part of that. I think that's gonna stick with me now. New Jersey. Let's kind of get dabble back into that, because I know we're running into the show close to the end of it. What would you tell someone that's a non-hunter to prepare for New Jersey hunting if they want to come out there and hunt New Jersey?
So a non-hunter or beginner?
Both. Let's go both.
Okay. Jersey being so heavily populated, don't get discouraged by properties that you hunt, because sometimes there's, and I'm sure this is a lot of places, there's 1 or 2, 3 acre little plots that there's a monster sitting in, and he's comfortable because he knows that he's safe. So, and a lot of places that I hunt are 5 or 10 acre small spots between residential areas. And even the bear that I shot, I heard kids, which is crazy. I heard kids playing. There was a park about 300 yards away, and or 200 yards away. I heard kids playing and laughing when I shot my bear. And I shot the bear. The first thing the bear did was ran up 15 feet up a tree and fell down. I've never seen an animal move that fast. And I thought to myself, if that bear had a cub, if she had a cub and that cub ran into that park and one of the kids tried to, they'd be dead. They could not run that bear. She was fast. But those small little parcels produce big. And Jersey doesn't have, even in the programs where you're allowed to get permits for state land or county land, they're small, 20 acres, 25 acres, 30 acres. They're not big pieces, and there's houses all around. Don't get discouraged that you're not hunting, like we said earlier, the Adirondacks or mountains, or you'll have success in these small parcels. You just have to find them. And I know a lot of it, and it's hard being as diverse as the state is in terms of political views to door knock. I know a lot of people Midwest, a lot of friends door knock for permission. It's a little harder out here because a lot of people aren't real fond of hunting. But I do have a couple of friends who've South Jersey who've got some good properties door knocking, but good properties that are holding 140, 150 inch deer, which are huge for Jersey in an 8 acre space. adjacent to some other state would. So you can have success, and you don't need because people who watch TV, you're watching a lot of shows and they have 200 acres or 600 acres or 1,000 acres. In Jersey, you're not going to get that. Nor do you need that. So you can have success in small pieces if you find them.
What would be? Is there a law that's in place right now that you don't agree with, or one that's in place that you would like to see modified?
In terms of in the hunting world?
In hunting the world, yeah.
No, I think because of the deer population problem in New Jersey, they're pretty much open in terms of what they allow you to do. I actually think they could. A lot of it's done by the honor system and good faith, and I think a lot of guys are taking a little bit of advantage of that, like not shooting that doe and checking in a doe and things like that during earn a buck season. But no, not necessarily when it comes to deer hunting. Nothing that I could see that I don't like them doing, other than they don't allow muzzleloader hunting on Sundays. Fair enough. No one wants to hear boom boom on a Sunday. So other than that, they're pretty much open, allow you to take a lot of deer.
Real quick, because I noticed, and I feel like it's been recent in the last couple of years where more states it's been more known, at least, where more states are not hunting at all. It's banned on Sundays.
Yeah,
I can see both sides of the coin on this, honestly, because on one side of the coin, me as a hunter, if I only have Saturday to Sunday to hunt, why the fuck are you telling me I can't hunt on a certain day? It's my right to hunt. Why are you telling me on days I can and cannot hunt?
Well,
Two,
that's Pennsylvania. I spent $160 a year on my tag for Pennsylvania, and there's no hunting on Sundays. But this past 2 years, last year, first time they allowed one hunt on Sunday during bow, one hunt on Sunday during rifle, one hunt on Sunday during bear. So because if not, I'm spending $160 for a tag, and I get 1 day a week, one Saturday, and the season only lasts for 4 or 5 weeks. It's hard.
right. And like I said, and I think on the other side of the coin, I get where you want hunting seasons around the corner, and I think you need to take into the account of how many people are actually hunting in your state. You don't want to hear a bunch of gunshots going off on a Sunday where it's God's day to rest. It's Sunday, it's day of rest. I get that. But maybe only make it during gun season, because shooting a bow, that's quiet as shit. I get the gun season where you don't want to hear bang, 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 bang going up left and right every 5 minutes, it seems like. Make it only during gun season, maybe. I don't know. Modify it. But, so like I said, I see both sides of the coin on that. Do I lean towards one way? Yes. I'm sure everyone knows the side I lean on. I want to hunt my Sunday. Don't tell me when the fuck I can and cannot hunt. We live in a free society.
Bow hunt on Sunday. In Pennsylvania, you can't bow hunt on Sunday. But in Jersey, you can still bow hunt on Sunday. Just you can't use a rifle. But other than that, I think Jersey's doing a pretty decent job in letting guys, try to control the population, because New Jersey has a legit deer problem. Like it's not uncommon to drive by someone's house and see 30 does on their front lawn, literally 30. People have no plants, no flowers, don't ever plant a plant in front of your house. It'll be gone in a minute. So, there's a lot. And like I said, especially by me in Hunterdon County, in the last year, at least half a dozen huge luxury apartment buildings have gone up where there has been woods. So they're just adding to the problem of, yes, the human population is growing. We have to build more residences. Obviously, areas build up, but understand in doing that, you're causing another problem. You're causing more deer per square mile, which could lead to disease, death, could lead to more traffic accidents. Something has to be done. So if you are going to build and do all these things and take away their habitat, you have to let us control them, because if not, it's going to be chaos.
Right. Yeah, and here in Michigan, we as hunters, we just feel like we're neglected. They don't ever want to listen to us. And I said it before on other shows. Here in Michigan, we can't bait. And there's a bunch of things that I've listened to other hunters say. We want to see change. We want to see this. We want to see this happen. And they don't ever listen to us. And I said it before. It's us as hunters in Michigan. We're yelling at a wall. Nothing is going to change. And I said, if Ted Nugent comes to Lansing and says the reason why we should allow baiting, and everyone knows my personal feeling about baiting, if they're not going to listen to Ted fucking Nugent, they're not going to listen to anybody. They only care what they want to listen to, and they want to figure out how they can make more money in their pockets. And I say that because is New Jersey kind of the similar, or are they different when it comes to listening to their hunters and their surveys that they push out?
I think they're still very, it's still a democratic, very liberal state in terms of that we are allowed to bait. It's funny that you said, because a lot of guys out here feel like when you put out bait, big bucks don't come to bait. The does do, but the big bucks, they just know something's up, and they'll walk around it, and they'll walk the other way. They just don't come to bait. So a lot of guys don't do that. But for the does, they'll come, especially in the winter. The great part about, I usually shoot 5 or 6 does in January alone, because when it's snow out, you put a bait pile out, and you have herds of does coming. So it's easy to control the population then. But in terms of listening to hunters, I think the reason they invoked that bear season was because people died and people got hurt. So I think they had no choice. But I feel like if they had a choice, they wouldn't have allowed the bear season. So I think they do bend the knee to those liberal voices out there, those animal rights activists. But they got to balance something. Like in Staten Island, they tried that vasectomy program, which failed. Now there's more deer there than ever. And they wasted $4 million of taxpayer money on a failed program. So they have to find a better way. They could have had controlled hunts. There's parts of Staten Island where they could have had controlled hunts to control the population, but people protest that too. So now there's deer getting hit by cars, accidents all over the place. It's going to take people continually to get hurt and families getting hurt for them to actually do something. So luckily for us in Jersey, they allow us to shoot unlimited does, to harvest as many as we can, and then they have Hunter Feed the Hungry program, the people who don't want to keep it, and we could donate it. So I think Jersey does a pretty good job, trying to control the population, but it's just growing at such a crazy rate. Like every doe that I see has twin fawns, if not triplets. Like I rarely see a doe running with a fawn that only has one fawn. I actually had a buddy who showed me pictures last year of a bear on one of the properties, and the bear had 5 cubs with her. I don't know how it happened, but she had 5 cubs. So if I thought they only had 2, but if bears are having 3, 4, 5 cub litters every year, at one point, does it get too crazy? Do you have to invoke something? Because they'll be all over the place.
Man. Well, Eddie, this is going to be a first I'm going to say on the show. When I recircle back around to New Jersey, you're going to be the first person I'm asking to come back on for the show. So this is a first me announcing that I'm going to have a reoccurring guest again coming on the show when I come back to that state. So Eddie, this has been an amazing conversation. I feel like we can continue this conversation. It seems like with our background that we've had with law enforcement as well, and in our sports world, I feel like we can go on for like fucking days, man. So
absolutely, I agree too.
I can't say thank you enough. I got a last 5 rapid fire questions that I want to ask you before I let you go. Okay. Yep. Are you good with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. The first one is, what is one state you want to hunt in that you haven't hunted yet?
I'd love to hunt Iowa. That is my goal. I have friends out there. Hopefully I'll get out there soon. Took me 5 years to get 5 points. So, hopefully I'll hit my goal when I get out there. That Pope and Young deer shooting lefty with a bow. Hopefully I'll get that. Iowa's definitely my ticket.
Well, I hope I get one of those text messages that you were able to get that, or at least text me when you're going out there, because I'm looking forward to that, my brother.
Yes.
All right, so you can't pick your state, but what is one state that you would move to solely for hunting?
That's a rough one. Just because I wouldn't want to go too far west because of my family. I wouldn't want to leave my family, but there's big deer in Ohio. Western Pennsylvania, Ohio, out there. Ohio or Illinois. Those two states are just, to me, are the epicenter of bucks out there. My whole life I heard about Pike County, Illinois. So places like that. And I played arena football 1 year in Chicago for the Chicago Rush 2002. So Chicago was a beautiful city. So I wouldn't mind being out there somewhere.
Let me ask you this. Is it still Ohio if you take family out of the equation?
For strictly hunting, I'm a New York City kid, and I've been to Iowa probably 12 times. It's a different way of life. I'm a fast talker. I like big buildings, big lights. So all of it would be kind of a stretch out west. But like if it was strictly for the deer hunting, to me, the deer out in Iowa are just tremendous. The life might be a little slow for me. I'd be like the Tasmanian devil out there. This New York guy talks fast and he runs around. So, but for deer hunting, to me, Iowa, because I've been there, would be just the spot.
Right. Flavors Forest here made a comment. Have elk on our road. All right. Third question. What animal is on your bucket list that you want to hunt, and what weapon of choice?
I would love, like, it'd probably be either mule deer or elk. Like I've watched a lot of hunts of guys hunting on the ground, stalking like a mule deer with a bow. And to me, that would be just like, to me, there's nothing more primal and challenging than being on the ground, trying to crawl, stalk a mule deer just by seeing his antlers above the grass, getting close enough to be able to take. To me, that would be just an adrenaline rush. Also, to me, I in the same respect, elk hunting, what those guys do for elk hunting, the miles and the tracks that they take, and but if I had to pick between the two, it'd probably be mule deer hunting. That stalking a mule deer would be the epitome for me of hunting.
That would be pretty fun. I can't wait to do that one day myself.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any hunting superstitions? And if so, what are they?
Ooh, hunting superstitions. Well, so
Or rituals. I'm going to change it to superstitions or rituals.
Yeah, rituals. I have this debate with people about scent control all the time. A lot of people I know don't believe in the scent control that I believe in, and I do everything scent control, from shower to shampoo to lotion to washing my clothes with the soap, putting them in ozone ozone bags and ozonics, and so I'm really, really, really cautious about scents. To me, there's been a lot of talk or conversation about it's not really necessary. I guys who don't do it at all. But I'm very superstitious about my scents. Listen, to me, if it helps 1%, then it's worth doing, because you know how hard bow hunting is. If it gives you a half a second more time to draw your bow back, sometimes that's the difference between success and failure in bow hunting. A half a second before that deer looks at you or smells you. So if it gives me a little bit extra, then I'm going to do the extra effort. So it help, not hurt.
Right. Last question here. What is one thing that you can think of? Guys, what is one thing that you think that we as a hunting community should or could do to improve the hunting community as a whole?
Well, like you said earlier, we're losing hunters every single year. It's like 1 million or so hunters. And I truly believe, like, one of the reasons I volunteer for the kids camps is because I want to do my part in passing on my passion to the younger generations. I feel like the family dynamic has changed. People are having kids older and older and older. I'm 48 and I just had a son. So my parents, who was his grandparents, my dad's 77. Really, really not very mobile, where back in the day, grandparents were younger. People were having babies at 18, 19. Grandparents were in their 30s. There was grandparents there teaching their kids hunting and things. So the family dynamic has changed, where now both parents work, and these kids are left to their own devices. They're left to their social media, left to their phones, and no one's really taking the time, because if people don't have the time, because now you need two incomes to pay for everything, because there's really not one income household anymore. No one's taking the time to pass on our passion to the next generation. And I think that's why I work with Raise That Full Draw. That's why every chance I get, like all my friends who have kids that are 7, 8, and 9, I always bring over my crossbow, and I always bring my targets, and I always teach them crossbow safety and gun safety. They love it. They love shooting it. A lot of those kids will never shoot an animal in their life, but I like to go out there and teach them the importance of safety in a weapon. I think we need to do a better job as hunters, taking the time, and I know time's a really precious asset, and we don't have a ton of it, just to take the time to teach even one kid. Try to help one kid at a time, get them interested, because the one thing that I'm going to teach my son, if I teach my son how to fish and hunt, I'm always going to know where he is. He's going to be with me fishing and hunting. And now that's my goal. We need to do a better job as a community teaching those same values our grandparents gave us to our kids. So it's like, I always tell people, I want to give my kids, like people always, I want to give my kids everything that I didn't have. How about you give your kids some of the things you did have, like respect and hard work and a sense of gratitude. And, I want to give my child all the things my grandfather gave to me and my dad gave to me, not all the things that I never had. I want to give them some of the things I did have. And that's a love for hunting and a love for fishing and love for the outdoors. And I want to go camping and do all those things that I did when I was little. So I think as a community, we need to do a better job of getting, like you said, get these kids outside, take their phones, throw it in the lake, get them outside. So that's definitely what we need to do as a community of hunters. Just pass it on.
I don't want to take too much of your thunder away, but because you nailed that perfectly. But I think, like you said, my parents, they said to me growing up, it's like, well, I want to give you everything I didn't have. Well, at the same time you did, but at the same time you instilled values in me with respect, honor, treating people with respect, and treating people the same way I want to be treated, and all these other great virtues. I want to teach those values to my kids, and at the same time teach them what's it like to be as a hunter. And there's a lot more to actually hunting than what people realize, where it's a love for nature, a love for the animal, and respect, and all these other virtues that you can get from learning and fishing and being outdoors that people don't see and they realize. And I say this all the time. I say this, kids these days, they're soft as shit. And if my kids just give 50%, however, they're my kids, they're going to give 200%, because that's just how I'm going to raise them. But if they just give 50% of their max value, they're going to run over all these other kids because they're just so soft. They're not getting outside in the woods. They're not treating people of yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. And I can go on and on. I'm just saying, like I said, I don't want to take much of your thunder away because you nail it perfectly, but I think you see where I'm trying to go with it, of the values as parents. It needs to be taught on that as well.
And we as hunters, like, we are the greatest conservation tool this world has. And those people don't realize that my licenses, that park that they jog through or they picnic in, my licenses are paying for that park, are paying for those things. So there is a need for hunters. There is a need for what we do out there. And also I think, listen, education is important. Knowledge is important. I think a lot of people are disliked because of ignorance, not ignorance being stupid, ignorance because they lack the knowledge. But a lot of that side, they sometimes they just don't want to know. So right. I educate as many people as I can on what I do and why I do it. And hopefully the people that I do talk to understand me a little better. And I tell them, listen, this isn't what I do, it's who I am. So, and I'll tell you right from the beginning, when I first met my wife 13 years ago, when we on our first date, the first thing I told her, listen, I'm a hunter. I wear camouflage. I said camouflage is my favorite color. Okay, if you don't like camouflage on a man, we should shake hands and you should walk away right now. I eat venison. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I told her, and she wasn't really big into it, but then I explained to her what I do and why I do it. And, you know, the biggest buck I've shot to this day, she was in the tree stand with me. So I actually have that deer in my living room on the wall because we did that together. So, wow. But now she sees, now she understands, because she understands why I do it, and it's not just going out, it's not just killing. People just think you go out and kill. It's not just killing. It's not why I do it, and people don't understand that. Like, I've been in creeks and I've grabbed fawns out of creeks that have been laying there and moved them to higher grass so they're safe. Or the other day I stopped my car in the middle of the road. My wife goes, "What are you doing?" I ran out. There was a turtle in the middle of the road. She goes, "You stopped for a turtle?" I was like, "Yes, I stopped for a turtle. It was gonna get run over." She's like, "What? I would never do that." I was like, "Well, okay, that's just." So people think we don't love animals. It has not. That's not the case at all. Like, I tell my wife that I can have a pet buck. I can have a 140-inch buck I named Bucky living in my garage, and I love him. I feed him every day, but I can still go out and harvest a deer. Because we're able to, but people have a hard time understanding that we're able to do that. Doesn't mean we hate. I don't hate animals just because I kill. I love dogs. I love every animal. Like, I'll send you a video of 2 years ago. I ran across highways twice to save red-tailed hawks from being in the middle of the road. People think I'm crazy. I love birds. I would never let a hawk get hit by a truck. I have videos of me with birds in my hand. You know, I love animals, but I'm still able to go out there and harvest deer and eat them and be a conservationist because I understand the importance of it. Not just because I like killing animals. I don't kill to kill. Anyone who kills just to kill isn't a true hunter in my eyes.
I agree with you on that point. And you know what? I'm not going to say anything. You nailed it perfectly with your story right there and everything you said. So I'm not going to say anything more with that. But Eddie, was there any lasting words or thoughts that you want to say that you haven't said yet before we let you go tonight?
You know what? Just if you are a hunter, just grab a kid. Just take them outside. Just even if they don't shoot, just teach them some safety. You know, I think one of the problems is you know, even gun safety. If you don't want your kid to shoot a gun, just have them go to a gun shop and have someone teach them just gun safety. They don't have to ever shoot it, just know the safety of it. I think it's a lack of knowledge that makes people scared of certain things. But you know what? I'm on a mission to help one kid at a time. That's why I pay my own way to Iowa every year. It's, you know, to go teach these kids out there, and it's come back to me 100-fold in terms of the love I get from these kids, and you know, and these kids still text me to the day, and it's worth it. And if I can help one kid every year, just, you know, stick to bow hunting and make it his passion, and all I ask him, just pay it forward. Just pay it forward. When you get older, get a kid that's never hunted before, teach him how to bow hunt, or teach him how to shoot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. And just pass forward. That's it. Kind of the key with it. Pass forward.
Yeah.
Eddie, I can't say thank you enough, man, for coming on the show. It's been probably one of my favorite shows so far, man, to date. And like I said, it's a first for me saying it live. You're the first person I'm asking to come back covering New Jersey or covering a state.
If you want to do a segment on nutrition, we could do that too. We could talk about nutrition too.
I love this dude already, but Flavors Forest here made a comment saying, "Thanks for the knowledge, both of you." Thanks, Flavors Forest, for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. And Eddie, if people want to reach out to you and learn more about you, learn more about New Jersey, is there a way that they can do so?
Yeah, like it can either be social media. Listen, my wife tells me I give out my contact information too much, but listen, I love to talk about it. People want to talk. People have questions. Feel free to find me on I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I believe my Instagram's Eddie D34. And then I think my Facebook's just Eddie Diaz. So if they want to reach me on social media, just reach out. I love to talk. Love to chat.
Eddie, again, I thank you. Appreciate everything, man. Thank you so much, man. And I hope you have a good rest of your night. I'll definitely be texting you later, my man.
All right. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eddie. See you later, Eddie. Oh, man. Like I said, that was an amazing show. I love talking to Eddie. I feel like we can go on. It's what, 10:30? Time flew by. I can't believe that. That was an amazing show. I feel like Eddie and I could be talking for hours and in a great way, obviously. So Eddie, if you're watching the back part of this, I can't say thank you enough. Like I said, you're gonna be the first person I'm asking to come back on for New Jersey. But with that being said, that's going to conclude another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast, another live show. We'll see everyone next week, Tuesday, which would be August 3rd or something. I don't know. But before we go, okay. Make sure to use the code GP10, GP10. Get 10% discount off Gilly Puck products. Go check out Grizz Media. Check out MAGNUS Broadheads. And with that being said, I hope everyone has a great weekend. And Deucer, tell everyone, put your core in the slot machine. Don't forget that. Help share the show. Help us get one new friend. That's all we ask. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see everyone next week.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.